Hey guys, I'm the here. I'm in a long tunnel. Topic of video. I had a couple. Give me a sec. Oh, I got one. Okay, let's. This is a semi. Well, this video is specifically for the people that do my tours, and I'm going to talk about some of the rules that I have on a group on riding in Taiwan with me on my group ride. And although this video is specifically for those people, I'm going to still make it public so that people can watch it, because I think it'll be interesting for other people to see some of the differences in the rules that I make compared to what other people do for riding. Like, what I mean is, it'll be interesting to you how some of the rules that I have are different. Like, it won't apply if you do a group ride somewhere else. Like, the things that I say for my group ride probably won't apply to your group rides, and the differences might be interesting. Like, the reasons why it's different. I know how to talk. First of all, I'll tell you the things I have difficulties, the things that cause problems on my tour. The number one problem I have with riders on my tour is safety distance, safe following distance, Anchuan Julie. I don't know. There's a name for it in English. I know the name in Chinese. Safe distance, safety distance. It's like, isn't there a term? Anyways, I just mean how far behind someone you are when you follow them. Safe following distance. And the problem I have is that people don't follow close enough, which is, of course, is going to be the opposite of most places. Most places are going to be like, don't tail, like if you're doing a group ride in America, they'll tell you, like, leave a good distance from the person in front of you. I don't want a good distance. I want you on my fucking ass. I want it so that if I jump on my brakes, you're going to smash into the back of me. And I'm not kidding. Like, that's how close I want the people. And I have to explain it to them again and again and again and again and again. Out of 8 people, usually I get 8 people on my tours. I'll usually get out of 8 people, I'll get one or two people that just cannot grasp the concept that I don't want them to leave a large distance between the person in front of them. So a lot of you are thinking that's why would I purposely tell people to follow me that close? Like, I pretty much want them to tailgate me. When we're riding staggered, it doesn't matter as much because I'm not directly in front of them. They're behind me and to the right. So if I do jam on the brakes, I'd hit the next guy, and I'd hit the guy in third place, not the guy in second place. But if they're riding as closely as I want to, then theoretically, yeah, I should be able to jam on my brakes and take out the guy in third place. Because it should be me, the guy in second place just behind me, a little bit to my right, and the guy in third place, pretty close fucking behind me. And the reason for that is because, I have the problem right now. Here's one guy who's crawling close behind. Then we got another guy who's way the fuck back there, blocking off a car, riding by himself. And I've given this guy the whole ride closer to us speech. Ooh, shit. Probably around 20 times by now, And I'm fucking patient. Like, in the beginning, I'll give the speech many different polite ways, and I'll explain to them in different ways. Okay, I'll give the speech to you guys because that's what we're all talking about. Maybe I'll just rename this video "I Want You to Tailgate Me," and then it's like, this whole video, people, this one aspect of my fucking group rides. Okay, we need to start passing. This road is we've got a lot of traffic, so I need to just pass. Okay, the number one reason is because there's a few reasons. The number one reason is because I don't want to lose people. As a group, we need to stay close together because the more we spread, especially when I got 9 bikes following me, 9 bikes, if they're not tight together, we're going to be spread out over a kilometer, and over a kilometer, anything could happen. Someone could further back in the group could crash and whatnot. I'm not going to know. So There's a truck. So yeah, so the number one reason is just like to keep the group together. The number two reason is once you leave a decent distance between you and the guy in front of you, the locals here are used to riding very close together. So a local will move into that spot. And then once they move into that spot, you're like, oh, someone's in front of me. I need to back up a bit. Someone else move into that spot. Like you get the locals cutting into the group and pushing us further and further apart. And if you keep leaving a safe distance from the guy that's pushed in front of you, then someone else move into that. You know what I mean? Like if you leave more than like a scooter length, well, more than a car length between you and the next person, then that's big enough for a scooter to move into, and they will. So it's it's similar to keep the group together, but it's also like keep other people out. Yeah, so reason number two would be to keep other people out of our group. We want to stick together. We want to behave as if we're like a bus tailgating a bus, and no one can fucking move into that. You know, you can't have a scooter pulling out and moving into two buses. So that's how we need to behave as one long, solid unit. Now I'm getting hungry. Ah, fuck these buses, man. How am I supposed to, we got a bus following a bus following a bus following a bus following a bus, and I got to somehow figure out how to pull out and pass all this shit. It's not going to be easy. See, this is frustrating, because what I could do is I could just pull over and check out the scenery and let them get away, but I guarantee that sooner or later I'll catch back up to them all again, and I'm not going to see the difficulty. But mind you, if I pass them all, then sooner or later we're going to pull over at some rest spot, and they'll probably, well, that's not true. They might not catch up, because they're probably tour buses, and that means they're probably going to stop at touristy places, and there's no guarantee that once we pass them, they'll have a chance of catching up. See, I'm practically tailgating this guy, and then he just braked kind of hard, and as long as you're alert and aware and looking ahead of you, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. As soon as we get... Can we pass on the right? Nope. So, yeah, and then the other reason is because once you start riding too far behind, then what ends up happening is you're not at the front. Like, say the guy behind me, if he starts getting too far away from me, which he often does, every time you get far away from me, you're not riding with me anymore. You're riding by yourself. You know, and on a strange vehicle, on strange roads in a strange country, that's the last thing you want to be doing, riding by yourself. You know, obviously some people, like on the last tour, on one of my recent tours, we had a guy who kind of left the group to go riding on his own. Like we'd reached a destination. He's like, oh, I want to go riding on my own. I'm like, I don't recommend it. And he's like, I'm tired of riding slow. I want to go ride. So he took off. And like an hour later, I get a phone call that he's crashed. And I'm like, yep. he had a car come around a corner head on at him, and like it was a lane like this. Actually, it was this road. And he was going down this road, and he was taking a corner, and there was a car passing a car. So he just like fuck, and he jammed up the brakes, and he wiped out. And that shit happens here, and I'm actually used to that shit. I go around corners expecting a car to come at me head on, and when it does, I don't panic. I don't like. Like he'll panic, brake too hard, and wipe out. What I'll do is I'll just brake and come to a complete stop in the middle of the road. I won't try to turn. That's another thing he did. He tried to swerve to the side while braking hard, and all those things combined, he wiped out. If it was me, I'd just fucking stop and hold on, just, because the car is passing. If he hits me head on, it's gonna be totally his fault. But if I swerve and hit the fucking railing and fall into the ocean, he's just gonna keep driving. He didn't, I didn't touch him. He crashed himself. He caused it, but if he doesn't make physical contact, he's not going to feel a responsibility to stop. So, yeah, I'm still recording. Thank God. I just checked the camera. This camera's a bit odd. I'm just like, I should have passed there. There was a long straightaway, and I didn't pass. I'm an idiot. That's what I get for talking to you, pricks. Whoa, see that? That bus just did a big swerve there. I don't know why. Yeah. So, and you know, like, and I explained to them, well, you know, you got to stay with the group because we got to keep people out. We got to stay with the group because we got to stay together as a unit so I can see you guys. You spread out too far, you know. And then you know, you got to stay with the group because if you leave the safe distance, then you end up what you are is you're essentially riding by yourself. Because what'll happen is there'll be a car coming, want to pull out on a side street, and then they'll see me coming, and I got my bright light on, and I'll kind of like, you know, like I'll make them notice me, and then they won't pull out. And then once I go by, if they see a big open space that the rider behind me has left, they might decide to pull out into that space, and then cut off, you know, and then cut off the guy behind me. And you know, worst case scenario, he crashes. Best case scenario, he has to brake hard, and then he's way even more further away from me. You know, like it's kind of like not letting people in, but it's also like it's more serious than that at that point. But you know, some people just they can't force themselves to accept it. Like I tell them, you know, you got to ride close because of this. So they start to follow me close behind me, and then their body is just saying, back off, back off, back off. You're tailgating, back off, back off. So they start getting further and further and further away. And then at the next red light or something, I'm like, you're too far away. You got to keep up, fuck, you know. And it's not a matter of me riding too fast. If any of you are thinking that, I'm not. Because if I start to slow down, they slow down too. And they're already like far behind me, so. And that's what happens too. That's another problem. I don't know what fucking speed I can do because I'm not sure what speed they're comfortable with. Because they're so far back, I think, oh, maybe I'm losing them. So I go from 70 to 60. And then they're still so far back, so I drop it down to 50. Oh, they're still so. I realize, oh shit, it's nothing to do with the speed. That's just way far back, as that's their comfortable following distance. And it fucks with me because I don't know, you know, if they're staying on my ass all the time, and then I start to go fast, and then they start to pull away, and then I start pulling away from them, then I know, oh, okay, this is too quick for them. Back off. But if they're always this far back, I have no idea. And then. Yeah, like I had I tell people like I'm like, you gotta follow closer, And I remember this has actually happened twice now. I've had a guy just stubbornly refuses to follow close, and I end up telling them like 30 times follow close, and then like on the 30th time that I'm saying it, they'll respond, well, I need to leave a safe distance. I need to leave, you know, a safe area, you know, so I don't. And I'm like, no, you don't. That's why I've been telling you 30 fucking times to follow closer, because I don't, you know, take whatever. It's you know, like it's pretty much like on the beginning of my tour. You got to take what distance you feel comfortable with. Like follow behind me at whatever distance you feel comfortable with. Then cut it in half, and then cut it in half again, and that's where I want you. You know. And yes, you're going to like constantly feel nervous, you're going to constantly feel uncomfortable until you get used to it. And the only way you're going to get used to it is by continuously doing it. You're just going to have to force yourself to follow at an uncomfortably close range until you get used to it. And I like, you know, and I explain to them all, like, you see how long I'm talking. This video is probably like way too long. And I explain it to them this long and longer because I'm being polite about it. And some people, they just can't get used to it. And finally what happens is, like, if they really, but most people can. Most people are just like, okay, follow really close. Yep, I'll do that. Most people can get the hang of it. But if they really, really can't, what we end up doing is putting them at the far back of the group and just, like, pretty much they're on their own, you know? And then they, so what you have is, like, a group of riders, rider 1, rider 2, rider 3, rider 4, rider 5, rider 6, rider 7, and then a big space, and then rider 8, and that's them. And they're essentially riding by themselves behind the group. And yet another reason why it's more dangerous is cornering speeds. Say we're going down a long straight, and I'm doing 100, and then there's a corner coming up. I slow down to 60 for that corner, and then I take the corner at 60. If there's a big space between me and the guy behind me, he doesn't know how much I slowed down, because he wasn't. If he's on my ass, then whatever speed I do and whatever speed I slow down to, he has to slow down to it too. So he's matching my speed pretty much perfectly. But if there's a big empty space, then I'm already halfway around the corner, and he's still doing 100 down the straight. So, yeah. So that's another thing, you know, like if you follow close to me, and then the guy's like, I know, and then they're like, yeah, well, I got to be cautious. You know, I'm looking at this, and I'm unfamiliar with the road. Unfamiliar with the road. Another reason to follow close to me. You're unfamiliar with the road? Who gives a shit? If you're on my ass, you don't have to pay attention to the road. You don't have to look. You don't even know when all you gotta do is watch my fucking tire. And then if I take a corner, you take a corner. If my tire starts to move that way, you move that way. My tire starts to come at you, slow down. My tire starts to pull away from you, speed up. Don't even look at the fucking road. You know, I'm over exaggerating now. Some people are like, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound safe. You're not supposed to. Target fixation. Well, I'm not gonna crash, so you can target fixate on me all you want. Target fixate on me. I'll take you the correct way. But yeah, you know. So just so if you're physically incapable, and we actually had one guy quit the tour because he felt too much pressure to follow close, and it was just him. And I need to reiterate, it's not about the group going too fast, because he's keeping up. He's keeping up. We're all doing 80. He's doing 82. He's just doing it a block behind us. You know, we speed up to 100. He speeds up to 100 too. He's just doing it a block behind us. And that's what we don't want. We want everyone together, cohesive. Anyways, yeah, so this is probably one of my oddest videos in the sense it's so fucking long. It's just about, you know, you can sum it up in one sentence. When you do my tour, you need to stay very close to the person in front of you. Uncomfortably close, that's it. JD, sometimes when I'm doing my tours for 10 days, I don't masturbate for 10 days. And then when I get back home, I look like that. What? The tour, when I go for 10 days, when I ride my motorcycle.